Is get your it's your boy Ty back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be doing a tier list of the point guard position in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM, in which we've got a lot of the newest Season 2 point guards at the top, like a John Wall, Lonzo Ball, SGA type cards. And then we got some of the Season 1 cards in like the Joe Dumars, John Starks. Now, if somebody wasn't very good, like a Gus Williams in Season 1, I didn't feel the need to put them on this tier list. So that is why. If somebody's not on this tier list, either I forgot them or they aren't very good. We're going to start off with Amethyst Damian Lillard. I'm going to put him in B tier. Now, I'm higher on Damian Lillard than most people. Now, that's just kind of the way it is. And a lot of it is because I use Damian Lillard quite a bit, right? In play now, I run the Bucks, and so I'm decent with Damian Lillard, and so when I get the chance to use him in my team, I really like the card. I think offensively, and this is just my opinion, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, he's one of the best overall offensive point guards in the game. The problem is, on the defensive side of the ball, defensive side of the court, Damian Lillard isn't very good. So there is two sides to the court. Offensively, he's absolutely smooth release. Defensively, not good. De'Aaron Fox, I mean, in this tier, at this stage, probably C tier. And that's not me saying he's bad. That's not me saying you can't run him. That's just me saying compared to everybody else that's going to be on this, he's just not one of my personal favorite cards. Now, again, it's not me saying you can't run him. He's fine. I just don't have domination done. And if I don't have domination done, how am I supposed to sit there and hype up De'Aaron Fox? SJ, the best point guard in the game by a wide margin. The difference between SJ and number 2 is a bigger difference from number 2 to number 4 or 5. So, I mean, that just shows you the gap SJ has over everybody else at the point guard position. That's not saying any of these other point guards I'm going to go through and talk about today are bad. That just shows how truly good SJ is in my team. Great release, 6'6 frame, plays great defense. There's no flaws in a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Lonzo Ball, if I'm going to throw others at S tier, he is S tier. In my opinion, one of the top 3 point guards in my team. 6'6 can standing dunk, which does make a difference. Dunks them all pretty well, I would say. Defensively, maybe the best point guard in the entire game on the defensive end of the court. I really do like Lonzo Ball. I think S tier is where he belongs. John Wall, I'm going to throw him at A tier. Some people are going to argue John Wall is better than Lonzo Ball. For me, I think it's a no-brainer in that I like a guy like Lonzo Ball more than John Wall. It really is preference-based, though. I mean, if you use John Wall and you have success with him, I mean, do what you got to do. I just personally prioritize defense, and for me, I struggle a little bit with John Wall on that offensive end of the court, so for me to put him any higher than A tier, it just wouldn't make sense. Tiny Archibald up next. D tier, I think, is where he belongs. Maybe C tier. Problem with Tiny Archibald is he's only got, I think, like a 73 ball. I think that's what it is. It might even be worse than that. I don't know exactly. He's collector, man. He should be better than he is. D tier is where he belongs. If you get him, I mean, you probably won't use him because you're a collector and you're probably using cards better than that. Magic Johnson, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go on record or saying it. This card's a disappointment. When this card came out, everybody was kind of excited. He's a 6'9 point guard, but he's just not as good as people initially thought he would be. And I don't know anybody who has Magic Johnson that's like, man, this point guard is just so elite. He's fine. He's going to play great defense. He's 6'9. But let me tell you guys, that release of his is extremely rough in my team. Dwayne Wade might be our last point guard we do put at S tier. Yes, I like Dwayne Wade over John Wall. Yes, I like Dwayne Wade over Magic Johnson. Now again, this is my personal tier list. So if you guys don't necessarily agree with all these, that is okay. That is fine. That is why this is my list, not, Timmy John 262. It's Tyler's list, okay? So I like D-Wade over Magic. I like him over John. And that's just kind of my personal opinion with the success I've had with each and every one of those cards thus far. Big O up next. I think B tier is the spot he belongs. He has good height. He can shoot the ball well. Playmaking wise is fine. Defensively, he's okay. I wish he had a little more defensive badges, stuff like that. I still think he's solid. I think B tier is the overall right spot for Big O in my team. Next up, guys, Donovan Mitchell, and I love Spada in my team. He's going into A tier. Now, you guys might be like, oh, Ty, but he's only 6'1". And I get it. I get where you guys are coming from, where he's, quote-unquote, undersized. But he's 6'1". He feels way larger than that. If you've used Donovan Mitchell You know, at 6'1", he competes better than some of the other, 6'2", 6'3" point guards in my team. I feel like he plays way bigger than his height suggests. Tyler Hero up next. I guess I'll throw him at B tier. I'm just not a huge Tyler Hero stan. I'm not in love with the card. If you want to run him, he's fine. Like, I think that's the nicest thing I can say about him. Is Tyler Hero is fine. Not a card I feel like if you get, you're gonna love, but he is fine. I mean, he's got some decent shooting badges, stuff like that, decent height at the point guard position. He's fine. Malcolm Brogdon, not very good. I'm gonna go D tier with Malcolm Brogdon. The problem with Malcolm Brogdon, it's pretty simple, and this is something that I've just kind of noticed, and in my experience with Malcolm Brogdon, I feel like his release is really bad. It's really baited. It's pretty slow. It's really just kind of tough to use. I think D tier is the right spot for Mr. Brogdon. Darren Williams kind of has all of those same things. I mean, Brogdon at least, I guess, has a really high 3-ball. Darren Williams' release isn't good either. I'm taking De'Aaron Fox over both of those cards in my team every single day of the week. Sean Livingston, a really solid point guard in my team. How high can I go with him, I think, is the issue. Initially, when Sean Livingston came out, I really loved the card. I hyped him up as a top 5 card. But as times went on with Sean Livingston, I just feel like I've been on the struggle bus. And when I compare him to Magic, John Wall, Donovan Mitchell, I feel like I'd take all of those guys over him. And then even compared to Damian Lillard, I know Dame defensively is not great. But with his offense, I might take Dame over him. So at this stage, I'm putting Sean Livingston at B tier. Still really do like the card. I just think that's where he belongs. Victor Oladipo up next, B tier. I'm actually going to move these, both Oscar and Tyler Hero, down because I think Victor Oladipo is better than both those cards. I think Victor Oladipo and what he gives you on the defensive end of the court is enough to put him at B tier. Yes, he was a salary cap reward. You didn't know he was getting point guard eligibility until the end of the season. But if you got Victor Oladipo, you got a really solid point guard in my team. Raymond Felton, D tier, the card's not good. Jose Calderon, I've not used the card. I don't know. I guess I'll go C tier. Look, honestly, neither of these cards are worth grinding for. That's the big thing for me. Like, if you get Calderon, cool, but you're not going to probably use him. If you get Raymond Felton, cool, the card stinks. Mike Conley also stinks. I'm going to go F tier with Mike Conley, and it stinks that I've got to do that, but the card absolutely stinks. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, but Mike Conley can move. I get it. His movement's not that bad, but his release is bad, and he's so undersized. F tier is where he belongs. Petrie up next. I mean, look, guys, what am I supposed to do? Hype this card up D tier? I mean, he's got decent size at least, but I'm not going to sit there and gas Petrie. It's not what the TyDeBo channel is about. Michael Ray Richardson up next, a card I really do like. B tier is where he belongs. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Michael Ray Richardson. The card is really solid in my team, and a card you can definitely use and have a lot of success with. Maybe that's who I need to start trying out in my lineups. The problem is I've got, I feel like no money spent. It's easier to have decent point guards, obviously, with Wade. Obviously, if you have Kyrie, SJ, there's a lot of great options. Even, Michael Ray Richardson's another solid option for you guys. Tyrese Maxey, not very good. Does have a decently quick release. It's just extremely low. I'm going to go D tier with Maxey. I feel like if you use him, you might struggle a little bit. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what I feel like. Isaiah Thomas, Zeke up next. I'm going to go C tier. I honestly think Isaiah Thomas is underrated. I just think there's a limit to how good you can be with being only 6'1" and not being the best shooter in the world. The game right now is ran by threes and shoot and defense. That's really what the game is ran by. And I just don't feel like Isaiah Thomas is really fitting what the game is ran by right now. Baron Davis up next. I got no issues with Baron Davis. Shoots the ball well, plays decent defense. I just think at this point, C tier is where he belongs. Like Dame, Sean Livingston, Victor Oladipo, Michael Ray Richardson, I think all are above a guy like Baron Davis. That's why he's at C tier. Not a card I hate, but when it comes down to it, I just think there are overall better options. Steph Curry up next. I mean, I'm going to put him at A tier, but I got to tell you guys, I don't love Steph. I just don't. I struggle with Steph. I struggle greening shots. I just feel like his movement is not as good as I was expecting. It's probably all my fault with why I don't like Steph. It is. I'm probably just not good with Steph. But I'm just saying, this is my list. And if I've struggled so immensely with Steph Curry, I know there's other people out there that are having the same issues. I'm a believer that Limitless range is just broken. It's broken. There's like an in-between stage that Limitless just doesn't work. Like the in-between, like 26 to 28 feet, it just doesn't work. It disappears. And that's a problem for guys like Steph Curry. Charlie Ward up next. He's not bad. And honestly, I think, C tier is maybe where he belongs. If you play a lot of offline, There's not many better point guards than Charlie Ward. Look, he's got a great release. He plays decent. He's cheap. I like Charlie Ward. Plus, he's a level up card. I'm going to give him some respect, putting him at the same tier as Tyler Hero is troll, though. I guess I'll move Tyler Hero up to B tier. I feel like that's respectful enough for the card, even though I do not like him. Chris Paul up next. I'm going to throw Chris Paul at C tier. I think Chris Paul is on the verge of being underrated. He plays decent defense. His release is on the slower side of things, but you can easily green it. And just overall, I don't mind CP3 at all. Same face, new place. I think C tier Chris Paul. Steve Francis, I don't like him. D tier is where he belongs. Matthew Dellavedova, gonna play a lot of defense. I'm gonna throw him at C tier. I know his release is horrible. I get it. But he's going to play a lot of defense. And quite honestly, guys, this is my honest opinion. If you play that much defense and have the ability to knock down open shots, which he does, I respect. I'm going to throw him at C tier. D-Rose, I'm going to also throw at C tier. And you guys can say I'm trolling with Derrick Rose. I do not like Derrick Rose at all. He doesn't play defense. His release is not good. Hey, I just don't like Derrick Rose. I got him. And I really am not a fan of him. Steve Nash, tried doing a gameplay with him and Amari, and let me tell you, Steve Nash disappointed immensely. Still going to throw him at C tier. Decent player model, player build, not super short. So I think C tier is where he belongs. Nick Van Exel with the duo is really solid. I know I had another guy I'm throwing at C tier, and maybe I think I got to move Isaiah Thomas and Oscar Robertson up because my C tier is becoming really, really, really rough. And for that, got to move Sean Livingston up. I know I've struggled with Sean Livingston on the No Money Spent Squad series. I get it, but he is more so at that A tier level than B tier. B tier right now is not looking super good, and maybe it's just the fault of my tier list, but it is what it is. I do think Sean Livingston has to go to A tier. Jason Kidd up next. Jason Kidd is B tier. Jason Kidd's going to play a lot of defense. He's going to knock down shots. I like Jason Kidd quite a bit in my team. I absolutely do. And if you haven't really gotten a chance to run Jason Kidd, just know he's going to play a lot of defense for you. So if that's what you're looking for at the point guard position, he's got a smooth enough release. There you go. Sam Merrill F tier. I don't like putting guys at F tier, but I'm telling you guys right now, in Sam Merrill, I've got no issues, no hesitation doing so. This card is a bona fide scrub. I get he was a free grind. He's got a high 3 ball, but he stinks. I'll put even Allen Iverson ahead of Sam Merrill. And that should show how much I dislike Sam Merrill. And in Allen Iverson, I know there's going to be people that like him and have him higher. I'll never respect Allen Iverson. I'm sorry. Ja Morant, I got a respect for Ja Morant. He dunks the ball well, has a hot spot from that top of the key, which I personally think is pretty important. I'll throw him at B tier. I'll respect Ja Morant. Nobody else does. I will. B tier for Ja Morant. Goran Dragic, D tier. He's got a smooth release, decent player model. He is a gold, so obviously he's not going to be that great, but for what he is as a gold card, Goran Dragic is not bad at all. I think, when it comes down to it, there are cards that, I think are better than their tier, and Goran Dragic is one of them. Jamal Murray, he's not great. Badge-wise, whatever, but this card is not great. Slow release. I'm throwing him at D tier. I'm sorry, Jamal Murray, you stink. Jason Williams, D tier. Jerry West, I guess I'll move Jamal Murray up to C tier. Jerry West can at least shoot the ball, but D tier is where he belongs. All right, here we go. Joe Dumars. Finally, we get to a card that I can respect. Joe Dumars, I'm going to throw at B tier. I think it's tough comparing him and separating him too much from a guy like Jason Kidd just because they give you similar things. Anybody at B tier can play. I'm just throwing it out there. Hero, Dumars, Michael Ray Richardson, Oscar Robertson. Anybody at B tier can play. And John Starks can play. He's going B tier. John Starks is going to shoot the ball better than a guy, let's say, like Michael Ray Richardson. Probably not going to play as good a defense. So, I think it's splitting hairs between the two. Both cards are obviously really solid, belong in B tier. John Stockton. I'm going to throw Mr. John Stockton in D tier. I don't like the card at all. Kyrie Irving, a card I really do like. I can't put him at S tier. He belongs at A tier. Right there with, the pretty solid point guards, but not next level good. I will say, at A tier, Kyrie's my favorite. I think it's close between him and Donovan, but I think for me personally, I'm better with Kyrie than anybody else at that tier. Steph Curry, D tier. This Steph's gonna at least knock down some shots for you. Tim Hardaway, D tier, not very good. Honestly, guys, anybody D tier or below are cards I would never, ever, ever use. And some of these cards aren't like that bad. Like Malcolm Brogdon, Nate Archibald. You could probably use them and have some success with them. I just don't see it. And part of it is because they're super expensive to get, and so I just don't recommend it. But that's just kind of where I'm at. C tier, I'd see some good budget options like Deli's fine, CP3's fine, Baron Davis fine. Anybody B tier or above are cards I really do recommend. A tier and above are the elite of the elite. And obviously S tier, those are my top 3 point guards in my team. Let me know your thoughts on the tier list down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.